Welcome to Joe's Bar. What conversation can we get started for you tonight? Should cut that part out. That was stupid. But anyway, I did a new intro tonight, and I didn't realize I had like a really old banner there. But anyway, it's not February 21st. Everybody, don't freak out. It's still in November. But anyway, welcome to Joe's Bar. We are now open. Thank you so much for joining us. And tonight, I will start by saying Esta noche. See, I already fucked it up. All right. I'm nervous when I do Spanish. Esta noche es noche de cervezas. Tonight we are celebrating the Mexican lager that is cervezas, and I have 4 that I'm going to be featuring throughout the show, all craft brews. This one you've seen before from me, so that's why I opened it first. It's El Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery, which is a local brewery to me, and it's a really solid beer. It's got that nice little orangey note to it, and I think it's really traditional lager, and in the sense of like if you can chill it enough, it's very much like getting it off almost a draft in like Mexico City or somewhere like that. They've done a really good job of brewing it. It's one of my favorites. So I started that off tonight. And along with that, I brought in some guests.
Hey.
I was making the comment earlier tonight before we were on air about how I have my dayside crew with me. In the evening, we're doing a little midnight oil and having all the folks that usually join me on the dayside coming in tonight and hanging out. So I'm real excited about this. This is really awesome.
Our parents let us stay out late.
There you go. Nice. I like it. And everybody's drinking, and you're welcome to show off whatever you're drinking when we go around. So let's go around and tell everybody, if they don't already know who you are. So Ron, why don't you start us off, sir?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name's Ron Lahr. I write fantasy, science fiction, humor. Today I'm drinking Menage a Trois Decadence Cabernet Sauvignon because I dislike beer because it's not pretentious enough. No, I'm just kidding. I just don't like the flavor of it. But the other works, I guess. So, although
awesome.
That's not really true because Maddie already knows, but I did a post about my birthday meal, which was Velzania, which is lasagna made with Velveeta, and it got picked up by one of my local newspapers. so I'll at least be famous for Velzania.
All right.
So I don't know how pretentious I could be if I'm a Velveeta fan.
So. We'll see by the end of this how deeply you get. But like I was telling you before, I've seen it all on this show, so you'll be all right.
Thank you.
All right, Maddie, you want to tell everybody about yourself, please?
Hey guys, I'm Maddie Madeline Dale. I write a mix of fantasy and romance and paranormal and dark fantasy. You can find all my work on my website listed here. And tonight I picked up a nice bottle of this red wine blend. It's sweeter than what I expected. It was aged in a bourbon barrel for 3 months, but it's pretty good. So, I'm here.
Nice, awesome. Welcome. She's a returning, as is this gentleman, Mr. Joshua Pentelarasco. Tell everybody about yourself, Mr. Josh.
So I got a big mouth and I get paid for it, which is a strange thing, but it's actually true.
It is.
Yeah. So my podcast, Just Joshing, is approaching its 700th episode. People sponsored that, but I'm also hosting a myconsultant.ca show, which I talk about Canadian immigration. So that's a regular gig now, and the 3rd episode literally aired yesterday. My book, Alice 1, comes out December 1st. I write poetry, science fiction, fantasy, And I also dabble in illustration as well. And my next release, not this one, but the next one will actually feature my first actual illustrations in a book. I'm kind of scared. And that's for what I'm drinking. Right this minute, I'm not drinking any alcohol. I'm sorry. I'm drinking Coca-Cola Quebec Maple right now. So it's not exactly hardcore at this moment in time, but I literally just finished a podcast with Mahi Reed, which I drew on the air. So I will probably eventually slip in some Baileys at some point in the evening. But for now, I'm just going to be relatively, and I promise you all, ladies and gentlemen, I can make an ass of myself completely sober. Ask Joe.
It feels like you're our designated driver.
You know, what's funny is I almost picked up this stout. So I was in Total Wine tonight, and that's where I got all these beers from everybody. Not that they're a sponsor or would ever be one, but I saw this. They had this stout that was it was what you were just talking about. It had Bailey's in it and stuff like that. And I said, that's interesting. But I was like, well, I'm going to be doing some light lagers tonight. I don't know if stout's really what I want to kick off or finish with. So I'm going to stay. Because I've learned my lesson about mixing. And if you go one direction, you pretty much want to stay that direction if you don't want to wake up feeling like, the world just shifted on you. So, yeah. So that's how I roll. And we've got a lot of people in the chat tonight, everybody. Margaret was here just in case we were handing out backstage passes. Always Margaret. Welcome. Anita's here. JD is here.
Hey, JD.
Margaret says she'd like a Tia Maria, please. What is a Tia Maria? I don't even know what that is. Interesting. I've never heard that one before. Yes, bring it. I think he was referring to my terrible Spanish. And then Margaret talked in Spanish for a little bit, and JD responded. And Vanessa's here with us. And
Hi, Vanessa. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Margaret says, thank you for the nice compliment by JD about her Spanish. And then JD says, Menage does great blends.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do more than great blends.
I think we have like 6 different ones right now.
There absolutely are some pretentious beers. They're not. I tend to make fun of American beer by and large because I live in Canada and my urine more often than not has more alcoholic content than
well, yeah,
American beer.
Talking about like Coors and Budweiser and all that.
No, our average beer
Holy
versus
Rock.
our average beer, we like.
Oh, come on, you guys got Molson's, which is that's like the Canadian piss for Coors.
But it has more alcohol in it. I actually can feel Molson. Yes, it's Revival. I'm not going to say it's a great beer, but I'll actually feel a Molson. If I drink a Coors, I
believe Yingling is also Canadian, if I'm not mistaken. Is Yingling Canadian? I think Yingling's Canadian.
Oh shit!
Which is like that's terrible. How to crap on wine, Velzan.
Wow.
Velveeta goes well with everything, and then Margaret says, "I'm not so sure about that."
I'm not sure about that one either. No.
I mean, it makes good queso.
Yes,
it does.
It
Anything melted. Grilled cheese sandwiches.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
No, it melts
tough one.
amazingly.
I'm gonna go with Cheese Whiz over Velveeta.
I'm on a Cheese Whiz band too.
Cheese Whiz.
Yeah.
Velveeta is Colby, Swiss, and cheddar blended all together.
I know, but
Margaret, if I had to choose one, it would probably be Cheese Whiz. I honestly, it's like.
Thank you, Anita. I can't believe I've trapped her with these heathens.
But you can squirt the Cheese Whiz in your mouth. The whole.
Yeah, that seems like something I would do.
Don't look at me like that. My husband's giving me funny looks over here.
Very pretentious, Ron. To squeeze
Thank you.
In your mouth.
Finally.
I guess I need to switch over to YouTube and say, "Nah, you can stay at Twitch. I'm always happy to have Twitch." And this is becoming craft beer.
And craft beer. I will say that craft beers are fun.
I had a really good time in the Total Wine at Atlanta, but as Caselitis will tell you, we were baffled by the idea, and I don't know if this is true in Washington, Ron, or Idaho and Oklahoma City, but I don't know if you have. Do you have Total Wine in Canada?
Total Wine?
Yeah.
Not sure.
Okay.
They're
Yeah, I don't
a
think you do.
giant store. You'd notice.
But
No. Our liquor stores are more. Alberta's a little different, but the rest of the provinces they're more mandated by the governments. They want their money here. They really, really want their money here.
yeah, and draft beer is better in Canada anyway. The water
Washington-
there is.
Washington has Total Wine.
Yeah.
Idaho
So
is government liquor stores.
okay, so this was the interesting thing about Total Wine and Beer, which is it's in the name. So I'm not faulting Atlanta for this, but in my Total Wine, you can get bourbon, whiskey, vodka. You can get everything. You can only get wine and beer in the Atlanta Total Wine, which was very, very strange to us. That was very foreign to us. Katie and I were going, "What the fuck? Did you see the vodka? I didn't see the vodka."
I had a similar experience, kind of a similar experience in Windsor. There was a beer store by my house. It only sold beer. It was actually a strange thing because other cities, you get beer, wine, hard stuff, right? Something, but again, it's a small beer store. It's also a kind of a strange time. So it was like, okay, it's kind of weird. What do you got like this? So what I usually would end up doing it. What I did at the beer stores, I would say my stout of choice is usually Guinness. Right, I usually go with it, right?
Oh,
yeah. So that's usually my one of choice. If I want to go with something a little bit more blonde, I'll usually go find some kind of honey liquor. I kind of like those. So, but yeah, so that's what I just ended up doing. But the beer store, I just wanted something that was a little bit more, somewhere between a rum and a scotch, somewhere between that. And I ended up getting so I settled for a Guinness that night because it just was the only way to go.
Guinness is good. I think Red Robin's did a Guinness shake. I don't know if y'all have ever.
I've had it.
It's not bad.
It's okay. I honestly, I do truly think Guinness should mess with its thing. It's an acquired taste for some, and I get why.
It's a very dark beer. So
yes, but it's one of those situations where it's just honestly, don't screw up a good thing. Just go with it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And they've watered it down quite a bit in America. They have different versions of Guinness now. But I was gonna say in North Carolina, when I was in the Marines, I lived in North Carolina, and they had blue laws, which is on Sundays nothing is open to sell alcohol, and which was very foreign to me because you can get literally liquor in my supermarket in California where I grew up, and I could get it without an ID. Good on you, Ralph's, but that's another story. But when I went into the supermarket in Colorado for the first time, the beer is different. It's watered down. It's 3.2, not 6.4, like what a Coors and a Budweiser would be 6.4. It's what they call 3.2 beer. It's half of the alcohol content. And in North Carolina, they don't even serve it. Well, I think it's changed now, but because that was about 25 years ago. But they didn't have it they had package stores. You had to go to package stores, and basically, I went on base anyway because I got it for basically no tax. But anyway, Josh beers have gotten a hella better. But my favorite beer is Canadian, Le Fin du Monde.
That one's not bad. I can respect that, JD. I can respect that choice.
That's a terrible beer on tap, though. Sorry. I tell you, Josh, I fell in love with the taps in Calgary. I just think that there's so.
There's some pretty sweet ones there. I'm not gonna dispute So where Joe was talking about the bar in the hotel for When Words Collide, they have some pretty sweet again some solid stuff. There's some craft beers there too. Right, there's some good craft beers in there. So you could get a very decent brew. I don't know what it's like now because for the last 2 years we've been kind of in this wheel. It's one of those. Post pandemic we'll kind of see how it all plays out, but.
You should be putting this in the chat, Ron.
You really should be.
I thought it was. I wasn't even paying attention.
Ron was in the private chat. And he says it's all whiz, JD.
How do I make a comment for?
So you're gonna do what I'm gonna do. So hold on a second here.
You have to go actual on the YouTube page and then
Or on
make
Twitch.
Make sure you or on Twitch and make sure you're on mute when you do that because then we can hear it and then feedback. But you have to go on the actual page and then you can go into
That seems like a lot of work.
It is. For me, I think you can see the comments here. Can you guys not
I
see
can
the
see them.
comments?
No.
I can't.
When you
you
share them, I
add
can see
You
one.
them.
can't type. You
Yeah.
can't type at the bottom.
No, we can't. Only you can do that.
Oh.
I know this is based on my own
Well,
experience.
let me know what you want to say, and I will type it for you.
Joe, I am perfectly capable of doing it myself.
Nova Scotia liquor store because of permits. JD says that's the reason why. The South has weird alcohol regs. My guess is that Total Wine doesn't have a license to sell actual liquor. All right.
It's literally state to state.
Yeah.
State.
Yes.
This is not the most annoying thing about Oregon, by the way. The most annoying thing is not being able to pump my own gas in Oregon. That's the thing that sucks about Oregon. But
Indeed.
That's weird.
Yes,
Although
it
it's
is.
not all
very
of Oregon
weird.
anymore. They
It
did
is
change
very
it,
weird.
so it's just
Because the kid
Portland now.
that we pulled into the gas station at 2 a.m. was stoned out of his mind, and he could not figure out how to open our gas tank.
Well, I woke up a guy at a truck stop in the middle of the night, and he was pissed because I was just a car. He's like, I didn't want to wake up. I don't want to be woken up just to put gas in a car. I'm like, change the fucking law. You know,
This is
you
it.
don't have to. And they did change it. So now the small
That's
counties,
hilarious.
you can pump your own gas.
This is a good fight here. I love old Rasputin.
I don't think I've ever tried Old Rasputin.
Ooh.
You
Put
know
it on the
what?
list.
Either.
Yeah,
It's a
on my
very,
list
very
too.
strong stout, but it's fantastic.
But see, I like stouts. I'd rather have a stout over like a light ale. I can't. It's just like
It's
my
like-
husband
it's like
drinks
drinking
Michelob
Bert-
Ultra,
it's
and I'm like,
drinking
no,
Bert stout.
no.
Really, it's really awesome. I love it. A ramen and a scotch. Ooh, gross. I had to use Grand Marais instead of rum in a baking recipe because I didn't want to make it a special.
Okay,
How was that exchange?
that I would love to actually know.
Vanessa gave up. She went over to YouTube. That's okay. We love you here regardless of where you're at, Vanessa. So thank you for being here.
Yes.
I mean, I could go on. We could just do a whole chat show because my God, it is. It's crazy right now. But I do want to talk to you guys. So I mean, there's a lot of good chats in there. Well,
Yes.
Well, we have to go back and forth.
yeah, for sure. But how's everybody doing tonight? How's things?
It's been a day. My child is on like I don't even know how to describe it. I'm gonna blame the full moon. He's been a nut this week, and this is actually like my second glass. I held off. I fixed my first glass earlier, and I was like, I need to not fix another glass before the show, otherwise I'm gonna regret it. But it was stressing me out.
So I made it a point to this morning I met with my co-host to discuss next week's show for the other show I do. I released my podcast. I did my usual stuff, released my podcast, updated my YouTube, and I did my stream tonight. Basically, I've been working on my next two books, like Alice 1. I'm getting like this weekend I'm going through all the proof stuff this weekend, and because it's ready to go. And then like I'm working on my next book, which I'm drawing. A friend of mine because I get to kill her in the book. That's basically been my day. So I've been drawing someone I'm killing and streaming and just doing my podcast. I finally got the other show down to a point where I can start writing again regularly. So that's good because
awesome.
when you do a TV show or a new show and you're building one, it takes some time to get it right.
I have to say, so I watched the first episode. I have the other two in my watch later list, and I love Professional Josh. Professional Josh is really good. You're really good, man. And I was surprised at how short it was. Actually, it was kind of interesting to me, and I'm wondering if that was designed by the YouTube algorithm kind of idea, or is it just that you want to be succinct with one point, and then then the next episode will cover.
We have a limit of again. I'm not going to speak too much about the terms of it, but basically we have a max time of 15 minutes.
Okay.
So that's why Now, the second episode was super challenging because it was a lot of dense, We have a lot of dense like information. No, I can totally do a I'm very much.
I've been telling you that for years.
Yes, I can totally do it. Right? I just like I like how my podcast is. Like that fits. That's who I am. But I totally like I'm enjoying the challenge of this because for me it's like I've been wanting this ever since I quit my day job to prove my skills. So this has been kind of a fun thing. Nice. And now I can do videos. Like episode 3 is definitely where we've turned a corner. Episode 4 is really good. And episode 5 is going to be even better.
I thought episode 1 was really good too. I you could see that you were trying to get your footing and figure it out a little bit, but I think it's I'm real excited to watch the other two now because I really enjoyed it. I did. I thought.
One last thing before we move on, I'll just do this publicly. I'm just gonna say my co-host Sarah's stab check is awesome. I mean, like she's actually definitely made the show a lot better too. So kudos to you, Sarah. Keep torturing me with food. That's what you've been doing on your Instagram. So she actually sent me a thing of muffins she made or cupcakes she made as an email just to torture me. So it's just like you're loved when your co-host tortures you with stuff she makes. It's hilarious.
That's pretty funny. So we have the people are asking us questions. If we want to answer some questions, JD wants to know our first drink and our first time drunk.
All right, my first drink was champagne. I was in grade school. I was visiting. My parents were divorced, and I was visiting my biological father for the first time. Some of his friends had asked him, "Didn't you used to have some kids?" And so he flew us. I assume that's what happened, because out of the blue, he flew my brother and I over to visit him, and he was an alcoholic, probably still is, I guess. And so he gave me champagne to drink, and I drank. So my first drink was champagne, and it was the first time I was drunk because I just kept drinking it. I didn't know, and it was a sweet champagne. So I got a headache, and I felt really bad. Grade school. So I guess that's what I'm inheriting, alcoholism from my father.
What's the first time you got drunk?
Well, I mean, I did get drunk in grade school, but
you didn't know what it was then, right?
The next time I was 14 and I was staying with some hippies on the Straits of Juan de Fuca, and
if that's not the first line to every novel you ever write, I don't know what a better line would be.
That is a great point. But the mom had a drinking problem. I know a lot of people with drinking problems, and she was like, "Hey, you want some lemonade?" I'm like, "You bet." And it turned out to be like 90% tequila and 10% lemonade. And I was chopping wood, and so I'm like sweating. It's super hot, and I'm just chugging this. Oh my, this is awful. Yep, got nice and drunk.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
I bet.
My first drink was a Corona because that was what my dad drank, and he thought giving me and my sister and my brother, we were really young. I don't even remember how old I was. He thought if he had us taste it and we didn't like it, we wouldn't try it in the future. But I mean, obviously that didn't work. And then the first time I got drunk, it's actually funny. So I grew up in a small town. Let me just put that out there first.
Mm-hmm.
And
Big
it's
surprise.
the kind of town, where like your parents will find out what you're doing before it happens, which is what happened, okay? Because one of the girls that was supposed to go to the birthday party didn't go because she told her mom they were going to have drinks there. And yeah, it was a fun night. I don't remember it, but it was around a bonfire and stuff. And the next morning, my mom's like, "So how drunk did you get?" I was like, "What? What are you talking about?"
That's awesome.
I won't repeat anything of what happened because it's no.
So my family is European, so I've had access to booze since pretty much time immemorial. I couldn't remember to tell you what my first, because again, it's different. They're not looking to get hammered. They're going to give you like a drink. So I've had probably since 3-4 years old, I've had access to booze. I'm not saying I did it all the time, but it's just one of those. It's there. It is what it is. Have a drink if you want one. If not, that's fine too. Nobody said anything, right? So that's not. So I couldn't tell you what the first one was. Probably some kind of wine cooler, if I recall correctly. But I mean, that was a long time ago. First time I got drunk that I was when I was 19. A buddy of mine took me to a bar. I did some terrible karaoke, right? Now, in all fairness to me, I can do terrible karaoke sober. It's totally, I've totally done it. Fun story there. When I was in Ottawa doing the convention there, I completely killed an Aerosmith song. It died on stage. It literally died on stage. One of my guests coming up to Sylvain Nouvel, he was there. He watched me murder an Aerosmith song. So if you're Aerosmith fans out there, I'm sorry. I'm totally sorry. But I don't remember too much about the night I was drunk. I remembered it was, I got buzzed. I got to the point I had to be carried out. There's no puritanical curtain between Josh. No, there really wasn't. It never, even now, I don't think it's a big deal. Like, I've never really thought that booze was really a huge deal in and of itself. I tend to take now, every once in a while, I'm like a pressure cooker. Every once in a while, I really need to let off steam. But by and large, I just drink. When I do have a drink, I just take the edge off. And that's all I really do with it. Right? Which is why it's got to be something with a little bit of a kick to it. Because if I'm going to drink, I want to feel it. Yeah.
The first time I met
Was that
Josh
like a
at
cocaine
Teleresco, we got pretty toasty.
Yeah. You more than me, but yes. We both were in a happy place when it was over.
Yeah, but all right. So first and foremost,
No, wait a minute. We can't ignore that. Joshua goes, when I drink, I really want to feel it, and then he's doing a bunch of nose candy stuff.
That's right. That's right. Listen,
Like,
Ron.
meaning I don't even drink. I just do cocaine. So it was very obvious.
It's a wonderful drug. Leave me alone.
Anyway, Joe, what were you saying?
Well, first and foremost, I just want to say,
I'm just gonna have to step off camera for one moment.
I got my friend Rick James over here. Never mind. So that's another thing.
I was just gonna say I really appreciate how Josh, you can see how entrenched Josh is with the English language when he uses a mafia phrase to describe how long he's been exposed to drinking in terms of time immemorial. I loved that. It's fantastic. But I guess to me, the first time I drank, the first thing I ever drank was a Michelob, and it was me bribing. So my parents used to play cards and take us kids with them because they couldn't afford a babysitter. So basically, they would sit us in a room with an Atari. For people who don't know what an Atari is, that used to be the video game system. And we would sit, me and my brother, and if there was another kid there, we'd all play Atari, and then we'd play board games, and we would color and read, and basically anything to keep us distracted while the parental units got drunk and played cards all night. And one of those, I was outside. I just happened to go outside to chase something. I don't even remember what it was. It was dark out, but I wasn't playing outside. But anyway. One of the parents was smoking, and he wasn't supposed to be smoking. And he said, please don't tell anybody that I'm smoking. Don't say anything. And I said, well, if you get me a beer, I won't tell anybody. And he came out and got me a beer. So I drank the Michelob the first time I ever drank anything in my life that was alcohol. So the first time I got drunk was probably middle school. I don't remember how or why. I started on a path and I never looked back. That's basically how I looked at it. So,
I think I was in middle school too, honestly.
But yeah, so
heroes.
there you go. And JD wanted to let you know that Rasputin is strong as fuck, and it does take Bert to the limit.
Sweet.
And Vanessa says we're a bunch of chatty bitches. And then Margaret has her next question, which is, if you write fantasy, have you ever written another genre? Considered? Why make the choice you made?
Okay.
I write erotica on top of my regular fantasy stuff, so but it's under a different pen name, obviously.
So I'm a big I grew up reading Asimov, Bradbury, Edgar Rice Burroughs, and when I got a little older, I got into my hands on some Roger Zelazny. Now, if you want to be perfectly honest, the reason kind of why I write Zelazny is kind of so. Calvin Miller and Roger Zelazny are who I look at when I write. When I'm writing poetry, it's Calvin Miller. When I'm writing like more of a science fiction and fantasy thing, I'm looking at Roger Zelazny. I love that Zelazny was able to do like these really complex stories in like 200 words or less, right? And if I were to do another genre, I probably would be doing. I could say something that like is interesting. I would do probably something like a general fiction kind of thing. But honestly, I'd be game to try just about anything, including erotica. I would try it. What the hell? Life's short, right? And also, it's one of those things where something I have figured out when I have been dating. It's really about getting into the head of the opposite sex to really have the best times. So that is playing with that imagination is a lot of fun. If I can do it in real life, I probably could do it in erotica as well. So
it is fun, and I've actually had people reach out to me, ask me to help them write a story, and I'm like, I don't know about that. Like that's crossing the line just a little bit. So
well,
Rebecca is in the chat, and
well, I write fantasy.
That's what she said.
Mostly write fantasy, but I have a humorous science fiction book coming out, and I write humor, and those are just the things I like to read. One day I want to write literary fiction, but I don't have time for that right now.
What kind of literary fiction would you tackle? What kind of subject matter? I'm curious from the both
coming of age stuff.
Okay.
And I definitely won't be writing
autobiographical. You know.
Yes, definitely with some elements. I mean, but no erotica at all because I was in high school and that just wasn't part of my life. And no erotica ever because I feel like you have to have a certain level of talent, and
I mean, my books are just a smidgen smutty, but there's like a difference between a smut and like a straight up erotica. So,
coming of age erotica.
Honestly, I'm going to say like a really. So I had I owe MJ and Colette a major bit of thanks. She's a romance author, but she actually got so the podcast grew because of the romantic writers community in Alberta, big time. And they gave me an opportunity when I was coming up, and I've never forgotten that. It forced me very much so. But it's better than the jizzing of the age, but that's okay. That's another.
Write this down.
Yeah. But well, hey, that's okay. Listen, have fun. Go at it, Beckus. Go at it. But I will say this, and in all, like with all respect to any, I do think like romance erotica it's not easy to do well. Yeah. It's really not. It takes a lot of skill to do it, and I honestly think that for a lot of romance authors do not get the respect they deserve, because to be perfectly honest with you, that is like, can you make a sock sexy? That's not as easy as it sounds. It can be done, and there's an art form to it, and I'm saying that with all the respect in the world, because that is not an easy thing to do, and romance is a big part of the market. It really is, and it should get more respect. Just being honest about that.
I feel like TikTok has really broadened the whole romance thing. So, but I'm going to stay away from that because that's going into another topic. So
no, wait. We have a structure on this show. That's news to me. You can go into as many topics as you want. I don't care.
The Wood Age, the Iron Age. It should be like the Rock of Ages, Bex. The Rock of Rock of Ages. That's right, JD. Sock it to you. Socks.
I love it.
All of the socks.
All right.
It is a feminized profession. Yes, Margaret.
Okay, I'll get to that one in a second, but I have to address this. Yes, it is actually a mafia phrase. It's from it's an old Italian phrase. So
Maltese background, ladies and gentlemen. So, I mean,
but Margaret's gonna look it up anyway. So I know Margaret. She's pretty good about that stuff. People think that because romance is formulaic, that it's easy. It's not. It can be done so long as your reader base is teen boys. They like their socks. All right.
Or rabbit feet.
Oh my gosh.
I was always partial to towels myself. But,
Yeah, fair enough.
we're making Maddie blush here.
All right. Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
But see, I blush, but I'm like this is turning ideas in my head.
now we're
like,
researching, everybody.
Yes,
We're just writing it for.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, all right. So yeah. So let's move forward. We have a celebrity in the house, everybody, tonight. I'm on to my second choice for tonight, and it's Danny Trujillo, everybody. Yeah. This is Trijito Cerveza. It's Mexican craft lager, and it is by the Lincoln Beer Company in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. I probably shouldn't have picked a Wisconsin beer tonight. That's kind of controversial. But that being said, let's give it a go here real quick.
I always figured he'd do a tequila. That's just I was always something I always thought that Trujillo, you would just do it. He
has. I think he does have one.
Yeah. I always had him pegged for that.
I really think this is really good. It's got this kind of like nectar, like a guava taste to it, kind of like a fruitiness to it. It's that's kind of hits you as you drink it, but the residual on your palate is that it's very bitter. So it's very interesting that you get that sweet note in the front and the bitterness in the back, which I think makes it smoother. But this beer when it gets warm is not going to be very fun. But
No.
So we'll not try to make it warm, because what happens with those kind of things is that all shifts to the top, and then you really get this kind of all sour note all the way through.
Yeah, no, it's just yeah.
And then it just becomes really, it becomes like drinking sour milk, right? So agave, guave, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I hope it's better than tacos at Concert Bueno. It could be. It is, I guess. I don't know.
That's right. So, Maddie, are you okay being picked on? Because you're getting picked on by everybody here tonight.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, okay. Just figured I'd ask.
My husband's over here like, are you seriously fixing a third glass of wine? I'm like, yep.
Right.
Yes, I know what that is. Anyway, I'm terrible.
Autocorrect's always drunk, JD. It's always drunk.
Yes, it is.
I actually named my autocorrect Mo, so I just say fucking Mo every fucking time.
Yes.
I don't think Ron answered the question. Oh, you did, didn't you? You said you wanted to do literary fiction.
But I mean, I do a lot of different genres.
For me, it went the opposite direction. I had no inclination of doing fantasy, being a part of fantasy, ever reading fantasy. Even I was very opposed to it for a very long time. I would rather read erotica and romance than fantasy for a long, long time. And then, I ran into some incredible indie authors, Joshua Robertson being one of them, Andy Peliquin, J.D. Estrada, whose fantasy book I'm reading currently, and a lot of really great fantasy books out there. And then I, revisited some of the classics and but I just had an idea, an epic fantasy came in my head, and I said, I'm going to run with it and see how it goes. And I have mad respect for fantasy writers, because I think the amount of work it takes to put a world together and then build a story structure around that world is incredibly daunting. And so I appreciate it much, much more. And I've been reading, and because I'm reading a lot more, and that's on purpose and design. And reading fantasy, I'm really discovering that I was very, very wrong. My opinion was very, very wrong about the genre. So, I started in crime fiction for my novels, but I really, really want to write horror at some point. I think I'd be really good at it. It's what I made. My films were all horror films starting out. So I really think I have a knack for that. And I just haven't had a story that I could ride for 60,000 words. It just hasn't happened. So that's been really my tough sell. And yeah, I could write a bunch of short stories, and I've done that. I've written a ton of short stories in that genre, but it's just not there. So when it comes,
Maybe
it'll come.
you should co-write with somebody a horror novel. Like
Maybe
start there.
Maybe. I think it could be might be in your own head a little bit, because it's what you really, really want to do. That's right, Rebecca. That's right. And she'll turn you red forever. Go easy on her, Becca. Go easy on her.
So when I was younger, I actually had a group of guys as my mom's best friend's sons. That was their goal, was to turn me purple with stuff like that. So,
absolutely.
And here I am now, writing erotica these days, and I'll just be like, "Hey guys, this is what you did to me."
That's right. That's right.
Why I didn't read it is because all my family was really heavy into it, and really super gung ho about this is almost Bible tendencies. This is really the be all end all of writing, and in school that was taught to me a lot. And so I resist those kind of things when they come at me like that. So I really didn't, and I was most of the time I was reading stuff that was of the old idea of fantasy, where it was info dumping. The prologues were longer than all the chapters combined, and they have 4,000 endings. Don't get me started on Lord of the Rings. We've had this conversation 1,000 times on air. So it is just what it is.
My first fantasy was the Wheel of Time. I guess you could make the argument for Ray Bradbury, like Martian Chronicles, as fantasy, but
I think that's more science fiction.
Bradbury is an interesting case. You can make the argument both ways with Martian Chronicles, but I feel like
you can make the same argument for Lovecraft and horror and science fiction kind of idea.
Oh no, it's in a similar thing. In fact, just how they got there is so interesting. But for the classic fantasy model of the Joseph Campbell hero's journey, that was for me Robert Jordan. Then I read Tolkien. That was a mistake. I should have read Tolkien first and then read Robert Jordan, but I didn't know better at the time. I was just getting into stuff. Again, my favorite kind of a good fantasy world usually has what I call a meta story, right? In this background, it's really built on story, and that's what makes fantasy such a neat genre to go into. I think one of the best modern examples of this is Brandon Sanderson. He really gets systems and story very, very well. But my favorite, I actually did this last night. My favorite fantasy series of all time is The Dark Tower. Stephen King's Dark Tower series is incredible. It made me cry. I don't most fantasy generally doesn't do that. Book 7, I openly broke 3 times in that book. It broke me. It was so beautiful, right? So
it feels like you cry a lot, just in life.
So my first my first book ever reading that was adult was Dune. So I was indoctrinated quite early, and I think that probably kind of salted me a little bit too. But at 9 years old reading Dune, it's a little complex for a 9-year-old, even even if I would consider myself smart, which
so to answer your question there, JD, book 4, Wizard and Glass, is the best one in this is the best one in the series. 7, though, it's worth the whole trip. Best Dark Tower story outside the series, though, Stephen King does great novellas. The Little Sisters of Illyria is fantastic. It is such a fantastic story. Like I said, I was shocked, but yeah, King's my favorite. then it's Jordan, and then it's Rogers is the Last, and it's Amber series. I love the Amber series a lot.
I'm being told, speaking of novellas, try a horror novella, Joe. There's a market for shorter stuff, and
There is.
Margaret says this is the right crowd for horror. Mars is real, is it not? And then JD says, "LOL, Joe. Guess what book I started after The Hobbit?" I won't need 2 guesses for that, but
Hobbit's good. The Hobbit's actually really good. Hey, Vanessa, it was nice to see you. You have a good night.
To you. Thanks, Vanessa. Yeah. The Stand was my first real adult novel, says Vanessa. So
it's not my favorite King book. I think the beginning is amazing, but it's so the middle's a mess. There's no other way to put it. The middle, you just get the sense when you read the middle that it's one of those books where it's like, I'm supposed to have like there's something in the middle here. Shit, where do I go from here? The ending's amazing. The beginning
does that a lot, though.
That's so wrong.
He strays a lot, you know.
The middle I didn't have a problem with. The ending is just the hand of God comes down and ends the book. It's like he's like, oh, I've already written 4 million words. I've only got 10 more before I'm going to be,
Well,
fine.
Here's the thing. I actually kind of
changed it.
Chug it, Joe.
I read the director's. I read the expanded version. So here's the thing. So maybe it was my mistake too. But the thing is, I actually like the ending because I like the idea that not Dark Tower. You did not flub that one, although you will hate it. I promise. but
I wish he had ended Misery on the right ending. If he had ended Misery in the right place, that would have been a really good ending. But he didn't. He had to continue it for another 40 pages.
His best stuff is much later on, like post his accident. Like his prose becomes amazing, and his best stuff is novellas. He's literally the best novella writer I've ever read, and he does those so well. Rita Hayworth, Shawshank, Little Sisters of Allure, Low Men in Yellow Coats, The Mist. He does those so well.
I'll tell you, and this is a great suggestion for everybody. Everybody should go out and get the Green Book.
I got it. It's fantastic. It's fun. I really like it.
And I will give it a go. I actually do have it on my TBR, but
adding it to the list.
But the thing that turned me around on fantasy is the idea that it's very cinematic, right? And it tells the cinematic story. It's very visual, very vivid. And I think that's what gravitates me to good fantasy is when I can see the story and it follows a cinematic path. And I think a lot of fantasy writers have that tendency now, especially nowadays, because a lot of them grew up on movies more than they did on books in that respect, or they have a movie mentality in that respect. So I think everybody sees it like that a little bit more vividly nowadays, and I think I really enjoy that. I'm really that's what I'm fascinated by, and that's what drew me to fantasy. So, I read nonfiction from time to time. Yeah,
I do too. I love memoirs and stuff. I've actually I got in trouble because I went on a binge Barnes and Noble shopping spree and spent way too much. But I actually have a whole stack of books.
I mean,
one of them is a memoir.
It's not nonfiction, but I read Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. I think that's
that's on my list. Yes,
it's an incredible book. I like and if you're wanting to ever get into I like craft books. I like books about the craft. Brando on Brando is one of my all-time favorites. I also enjoyed if Chins Could Kill by Bruce Campbell. One of the greatest books, funniest books I've ever read, and really great insight on acting. And I read a lot of books about writing and screenplays and stuff like that too. So I'm a sucker for those kind of books. So that's what I read in nonfiction.
The last one I read. Sorry, go ahead.
So my nonfiction stuff of choice, I'm actually reading a lot of stuff that's been made right now in the 50s and 60s in terms of
nice.
So specifically stuff like herbology,
Ooh.
Young's yes, young, I guess I know why you're asking that question. I think, but no, young, absolutely. But for me, it's my dad's a herbalist, right? I'm a naturopath. He grew up with that, so I always read stuff that's older, pre-80s, because there's some really cool old techniques that are forgotten that they have a good way to come back in. But I'm also reading old psychology books. I just read I'm reading two. I'm reading one about like the psychology and mental side, just my own kind of like understanding how fear works, especially I think in a time like this. It's a really interesting thing. The other one I'm reading, I just ordered. It's from I just was listening to Jocko Willink's podcast. It's a military book. It's the history of military incompetence, and the whole idea behind it is people fall in love with the outcomes of things so much that they will ignore information and charge headlong in. And it's a book about leadership, and I think it's really, really interesting that it's really, really interesting to me. Like that kind of stuff is interesting to me because it's an older way of thinking that we don't really think about too much anymore, but a lot of that stuff still applies.
No.
Nice.
I just downloaded a really interesting nonfiction book that I can't wait to sink my teeth into, which is How to Talk to Women by somebody named Ron. Is it Lair?
Sweet.
No,
Thank you.
but
That's
yeah.
very kind.
My last one that I read, it actually made me cry. It was a more of a medical thing because that's kind of what I worked in the medical field. And it was When Breath Becomes Air, which completely tore me up. Oh my gosh. I mean, I knew the author like obviously was gonna die, but like, wow.
So current fantasy read. She was my guest last night, but I've been reading her stuff.
Yeah, nice.
She's really cool. Me and her, I love talking with her. It's such a fun thing.
Have you read Sweetwater Beat?
Not yet. I got into this series first because it's a little lighter. Right now for my fantasy stuff, this is where I'm at. Japanese light novels and like quick. I'm enjoying like the urban fantasy. Alana Andrews. Yes, Alana Andrews is really, really cool. Catherine Hudson Kick, because it's so
Sorry.
it's
JD was mispronouncing Ron's last name as well. So.
Doesn't everybody? I
did it for what? How many shows before you corrected me? Like 3 or 4.
Well, I believe I corrected you right away, but that didn't stop you. And it doesn't stop most people. And not just about my name, but about everything.
Yeah, sorry.
You can correct people; they don't care.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it since you really corrected me. So.
Well, thank you. I mean,
I'm
it's
sorry,
interesting
Jade.
because I believe it's so, AH is ah,
Yeah.
so lar, and yet that is not what people come up with.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry, Josh.
oh,
no
jeez.
worries. No, it's fine. I'm in this wonderful position. Hey, would you like to come on I'd love to come on your podcast, kind of stuff. So,
Hey,
Joe
well,
is
that's not
tenacious
bad.
for
That's
sure.
always good. So,
Well, no, I've never had a problem getting interviews ever. And now the more I do it, it seems honestly it's probably one of the best blessings of my life. To be perfectly honest with you, I get to talk to cool people all the time. So
that is the best about doing interviews because I've recently started doing that myself and I love it. I'm with you on that. I absolutely love it.
So who's your favorite guest so far?
Oh,
I'm
okay.
right
Ron
here.
was
Well,
my
she hasn't-
she
like
hasn't-
one of
she
my
hasn't been on
favorites.
yet, so.
Ron. So, yeah.
Just to be polite, you should say me.
Oh no,
I'm
you were
here.
like one of my best ones. I mean, I've had a lot of really good ones. So many different authors. It's crazy, and it's always different topics. And like, I love it. So
Yeah.
I do
Yeah,
have to
no,
say, Joe didn't say the name of the book, though. He said the subtitle. Just for all the crap I'm getting about my name. It's You're as Stupid as You Are Fat. How to
it's
Talk
on
to
my
Women.
next. It's literally my next
So-
Kindle read. So
Anyway,
Because I wanted you to do it, Ron. Because you do it
thank
so
you.
eloquently.
You're so subtle. After a couple beers, you're very subtle.
Did you finish your second one yet?
No, I have not. It's a big
Well,
beer.
then get to work.
22 ounce.
Yep. You gotta chug it. Oh, you gotta get four in.
I'm not chugging that. Actually, yeah, you're right.
Tremendous
It
recommendation.
was almost
Well,
over,
I'm not chugging
and I'm
that.
only on beer and 1.5. So yeah,
I think we should know. Don't take Madison's recommendations because the shots comment Ron earlier that I put in the group. We're like, no. That's me.
Subtle
showing my
intonation.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
No, I think why people gravitate to Josh's podcast, and I've said this many times, but I'll say it again because I like saying it, and is because Josh is real. Josh really allows you to run the space that you want to run in, and he goes with it, and he's very good at that. He's excellent at really honing in on what you're talking about at the time you're talking about it. He sometimes does come in, believe it or not, with a topic to talk about, as we have done before, and it just kind of veers wherever it veers, and Josh runs with it, and he's very good at that. And he's very easy to talk to, and the hour and whatever minutes that he allows to go past the hour is very it's very fast. It doesn't feel like it, and that's Josh's greatest strength, and it's why he's very good at what he does, and it's why he's done almost 700 episodes, and it keeps on going, and he will keep on going. He's gonna. I really enjoy being on his show, but I really enjoy listening to it because I just really think he's very good at getting the best out of whoever he's talking to. So.
I think it's because he's a cutie.
I am a sexy beast. It's true. I did.
I love it.
So the only question is, what do you mean by am I not fiction?
I think she meant nonfiction. I think she meant nonfiction, or I shouldn't have had so much to drink tonight. Yeah, I think she meant nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
And chats with Josh are the randomest I think I've ever done, and that's saying something. Yes, it is. But no, and Josh and I have talked about this before, so I see him blushing down there, but he really is really good at what he does. He's amazing, and I highly recommend that you go and check out The Professional Josh because it is really astounding. He's really good at that too. There's not much that Josh isn't good at, and I appreciate that about him.
In terms of broadcasting, there's things I really do suck at, not on there. But yeah, like what I'm strong at, I'm good at. I won't deny that. Right.
No,
that's not a bad thing. That's always a good thing. So.
And that's the last time I toot Josh's horn tonight, everybody.
That's right. That's right.
We'll see.
Have a great one, JD.
Oh, bye, JD.
Oh man. Have a good night, JD.
Yeah. Oh, okay, gotcha. I just wanted to be clear on that. It's like, wait, what? But no, I actually, to be fair, so I like, yeah, no, you totally talked about chocolate. I like chocolate. If I had to pick one conversation though, John Maven's first chat with me on the show is probably my all-time favorite one. Nice. Because it's that one was so intense because I started off because I thought I asked him why he called his book Rage. Holy shit! Did I jump into the deep end right away? Because it was like because it was he was from a really angry spot because he had just found out some stuff about his family. His father had Alzheimer's. He was going through a lot of stuff.
Oh man!
That was the first question. That was the first minute into the interview. Like holy, like it's like wow. We ended up, though, in an amazing place because John is a great teacher as well as he is a great writer. And as a result, so it started off this really angry place, and we just got over time. It was like a complete show in a sense that we talked about deep, really serious stuff, and we ended on a really nice note. Like I like it when my chats can go both ways. Because it's just like I don't mind being silly. I don't mind being serious. And some chats, I'm one or the other. but I love it when you can do both. So
Well, I'm
And also
Flexible and authentic.
yeah.
well, I'm gonna shift the praise to the other side of the room and talk about two of my favorite people here, in Ron and Maddie, and how much I've appreciated them this year. You
thank
guys
you.
are a mainstay on This Week in Indies, and if you haven't seen them on This Week in Indies, you gotta check it out because they're fantastic. And I'm really just so grateful that you guys have gravitated to that and come on and been on so many times, and I really appreciate it. So you guys are really great, and it's really great to have you here tonight. So get you out of your
Anytime.
element.
Thank you. Yeah.
But
It's fun.
so I did pound that second beer. So now
Yes!
Oh, good man.
So from Danny Trujillo to the band Sublime. This is the Sublime Lated Beer AleSmith. And yes, it has the Sublime sun that pretty much anybody who has 40 ounces to freedom, the album cover, would recognize. It is a Mexican lager, as have been everything tonight, because that's the theme. It says crisp, balanced, easy, and drinking at the top. So let me see. It's so dark in here because Ron made me turn down my lights. All right, I said Ron's.
What's supposed to be a bar?
Bar theme.
Come on.
Yes.
I mean, how many bars are brightly lit? Anyway.
Okay, I'm going to turn this on for just a second so I can see who made it. So that I get it right.
Oh,
Oh, it's San
emergency
Diego. It's from
medical
San
room.
Diego. It's the AleSmith Brewing Company. So this is actually not called AleSmith. This is called Sublime, but AleSmith is the brewing company. They're from San Diego, California. So cheers, everybody.
Sure.
Cheers.
Okay, so this is really classic Mexican cerveza. This is basically, if you drop this in the ground and picked it up and swallowed some dirt with it, you would not know that you didn't not just drink beer. It's so good. It's very fresh. It's very rich. It is perfectly smooth. It is completely balanced all the way through. This is probably my favorite so far of the evening, because this is like drinking water, and this is dangerous. I'm glad I didn't get the 6-pack of this, because it'd be gone probably in the first 20 minutes of this show.
So the best beer is like water?
The best beers. So I equate it to almost scotch. You don't feel it when you're drinking it until so like for me, when I drink scotch, if I'm sitting down and I'm drinking it, I don't notice it until I stand up. And then
Margaret has a good point.
So
Margaret has a good point.
I want to equate that to tequila.
Yes.
That's when I get trouble, though. So
Margaret has a good point, because it's the third beer. It might be a little.
That is some good thinking.
True, but let me tell you, Margaret. So far, the beers I've drank are 4.5 APV, and this one is 4. The Danny Trio is 4.7. That's like drinking water. That's nothing. This one is 4.7 as well. But no, the reason I really do like it is it's smooth. It doesn't have what Trio had, which is that notes of bitterness and fruitiness that you kind of have to work around, and Sully has a deep bitterness to it. This one is just completely like smooth, like a good scotch. It goes, like Josh said, it goes down pretty good, but it is also level. And when you get a beer that's balanced, it really lends the palate's strength to absorb something that's really nice, right? So, I try to get as pretentious as I could, Ron, there. So I think
I wasn't paying any attention because you were talking about beer.
That's pretentious.
Yeah.
Scotch whiskey, absolutely.
Yeah.
But scotch, sometimes scotch is really good.
But anyway,
Then you stand up and then you're like, I'm drunk.
This will be yeah, probably. I'll probably fall over. But this is really good, and it'll be gone in a few minutes. So everybody's
Pretty soon, are you going to tell us how you love us all?
I already did that.
Man.
I mean, at least you're not kissing anybody, because I have a friend that does that, and I'm just like, "Whoa,
I love you guys
need
so
to slow down."
much. Yeah.
Really?
It's like a great
That's a little
signal that
boundary
somebody's
issue there.
been drinking so much.
No,
I'm with you, man.
Anybody who knows me knows that I do that without drinking. So But
Oh, I'm the
anyway.
opposite. When I'm sober, can't stand people.
But when you're drunk, you love them.
I'm
No, then
even
I
more
can just.
bubbly when I'm
I don't
drunk,
love them. I can
so-
just stand them.
You can just
that
stand
or
them.
I cried.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah. I can stand
but that's only happened twice.
I-
Has it happened more than that?
One was when you were in middle school. We've already established that tonight. So,
No. Okay, so that one I almost jumped into the fire. So
see, I knew.
yeah.
See, who had 105 as a time that I would get Maddie to admit she did something when she was drunk. Because remember at the beginning of the show, she said that she would never tell.
And I
So
did.
whoever had 105 wins the raffle.
That was
Congratulations.
before it
You
got
win that.
too bad. I mean, I wasn't the only one that almost jumped in the fire, though. Some of the other girls that were there did too. So I mean, they didn't jump in it; they almost did. Like one of the friends was not super sober. I mean,
That doesn't make you sound better. That you were going to do it for peer pressure. But I also feel like we would get a lot more truth from Madeline if her husband wasn't in the room.
He's over here doing this, okay?
Yeah,
So
if he would leave,
Sorry,
I
Madeline's
feel like
husband.
we'd get a lot
It's
more
okay. It's okay.
openness.
oh
like,
gosh.
Send him to get you some ice cream or something at the store. And
No,
we'll get the
because
real
he put our son to bed. He's good tonight. He's already like I'm waiting for him to come get the bottle of wine right now. But I will tell you a fun story about him and I early dating. He's
All right.
God.
We're
Don't look at him. Look at him,
He-
Maddie.
He had this really nice Camaro when we started dating, and like I also went to this super Christian school and we weren't supposed to be drinking, but my roommate and we were on the cheerleading squad together, and she was like, yeah, let's go do stuff. Well, we got carried away with shots, and I was still like, you give me shots and I will just keep going. Okay. And we get back in his Camaro and I get sick. So, and he's never let me live this down, but I ended up vomiting out the side of the car, and it just like
Inside the door.
okay, I'm sorry, it was inside the door jam. So and
Ooh.
he's never
Oh,
let me live it
brutal.
down.
Ugh.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
either. That's brutal.
Oh.
Yeah. That's like and I had just turned 21 when we started dating. So I mean it
That's
was
a tough repair.
Yeah. I don't know how he got it out, but we ended up trading it in for a truck later on after we started living together and stuff. So but he loves me. It's not the first time. Like he's had multiple times since then. Where he's had to, yeah. So
I have to say, putting Maddie on the screen here, I have to say you have one of the coolest little fireplaces I've ever seen. It's like
Oh
a
my
Oompa
gosh,
Loompa
you know-
fireplace. It's fantastic.
my
really
dad
cool.
actually got it for me, and it is awesome because this room we have really large windows on this side, and it gets fucking cold. When it gets cold, it gets cold, and I've tried thermal curtains and everything, and it's still like we got it. He gave it to us when I had my son, and that was the only thing that kept us like comfortable in this room. So
You know what it reminds me of? And yes, I'm going to do movies, so everybody just brace yourself. It reminds me of Stonehenge from Spinal Tap, where they're meant to be big, but because of the dimensions that they drew, but they made it really small.
All right, talking about crying, I cried. I was laughing so hard when I saw that in the theater, and I was laughing so hard that I cried 3 different times in the movie. And one was the Stonehenge, the dwarfs kicking it around the stage. Oh, fudge. I mean, that movie
He was about to
was...
be trampled by a fucking dwarf.
Yes. Oh, such a great... I mean...
And then when they realize that they're the ones who made the mistake because he drew
the inches instead of the feet. Ugh, so good.
That killed me.
Fantastic.
Absolutely killed me. That movie is fantastic.
Indeed.
What was the other times you were laughing? I'm curious. Was it the time when he said there was only a 2-word review? Shit sandwich.
No, I didn't. I mean, that was not enough of a buildup. That was too fast. I don't remember the third one, which is awful. And I've even watched it with the intention of trying to pick out the third place. But the second place was the pods, where Derek Smalls he's trapped inside. And he finally gets out, and the other guys get back in, and he jumps in, and now his arm is just in. That whole bit, I was crying. I was laughing so hard. Ugh.
That was preceded by them trying to find the stage when they kept
Oh,
going.
yes.
Oh yeah, Spinal Tap,
Ugh.
Cleveland, we're here.
So many
we're
good things
This
in
Spinal
there.
Tap is
I mean-
like epic.
Well, although this is not a place I cried where I left, but I actually think of it often is when Billy Crystal, at the beginning when they have the launch party, and Billy Crystal is the chief mime serving hors d'oeuvres.
Mime is
And he's
money.
like, come on, everybody, mime is money. And I'm like, that is the best line ever. That has stuck with me for decades. How, I don't know. It really grabbed me. And mime
This
is
is
money,
for
man.
Rebecca. This is what I'm trying to counteract my alcohol with. It's spitting the theme.
You shouldn't be trying to counteract it before
Is that
the show
is that
ends.
the Costco blend?
This actually got it at Target, and
nice.
like, so my son loves it too.
So
I have a little bowl
Who
of it.
wouldn't? I would.
I want to tell
Like,
a
I
little
used to bring-
story.
I used to bring that. That was my responsibility at Christmas time for my ex family that is now excommunicated from my life. I used to bring the bar mix, and literally it'd be gone that night. So
Yep.
Wow. All right,
This
I wanna-
mom.
I'm
So
sorry,
we
Josh. I didn't mean to
recently-
cut you off.
no worries.
Oh, Ron, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go Ron. Go Ron.
Josh, it was me. No. So
I
we
don't-
recently
I-
moved. And my mom has Alzheimer's, so we were selling our house and moving in to help take care of him. And as we were packing up, we're like, oh my God, we have found so much alcohol in our house. I mean, we had a big, it's like a 4-bedroom, 3 living room. I mean, there's a lot of rooms in this house, and the kids had moved out. So it was just my wife and I in this big house. And we just were finding alcohol everywhere. And so we were like, well, that's no big deal, because moving in with my parents while we're waiting for the guest house to be built and the shop and everything, we're going to be pretty cramped. And my mom's Alzheimer's is like super severe, which is not super relevant to the story, but it isn't like you think about Alzheimer's. She has Alzheimer's and then vascular dementia. So she's almost like more like developmentally disabled than just Alzheimer's. But anyway, so we're like, we're really going to need alcohol if we're living there. And so my wife and I will make these plans. Every month we buy more alcohol because we'll go shopping, at the grocery store, and there'll be a sale on some wine we like this wine I'm drinking tonight was on sale. We're like, oh, we got to get that. It's a great deal. And we're going to drink. And then we never drink. So we just keep making it worse. Our stash just keeps getting bigger. So I need to be on the bar show like every week, because it'll help me work through this inventory I've accumulated.
I mean,
One
you
of
can
our
always send it out to friends, like, mail it.
Well, don't you remember how I said I hate people?
That's true.
Yeah. So I don't share.
Distance friends.
I mean, I did share with the garden because we had, so many potatoes and so many cucumbers and so much whatever. So we gave away a lot of food, but yeah, that was just, it was hard. My wife would be like, you should give some potatoes to me. I'm like, fuck them.
One of our viewers has a question for you, Maddie. Hang on, let me post it, because they decided not to join us if it will post.
Uh-oh.
Oh shit! The comments are awesome on this show.
Yes.
They are
just gotta say.
fantastic.
Yeah, Rebecca, I love her. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
I hate most
I
humans.
don't know why mine
I
wouldn't
love
post.
Rebecca.
Hang on.
Now
I'll
I'm
get it up.
concerned about this question.
Me too. I don't see a question for you, so I'm like, what?
I know it didn't post for some reason. Hang on.
And if it's one of my friends, I swear, because I sent the link out, and
If the question's from Joe, can't you just say it?
I could, but it's funnier if I just put it on the screen if it will work. I don't know if I don't know why it's not working right now for me. It's
Uh-oh.
so the
Is it
question
the
is
three
from.
beers?
So the question is from Ron L. Lar, or Lair, or Laher, if you prefer, and he's asking
It's
you,
fine.
Maddie,
Well, I did ask
does your husband still have the Camaro?
She already
No,
answered that.
He does not.
You already answered that. You already
Yeah,
answered
but-
that.
he traded it in for the truck. So,
But
in
the
which
other
he-
question was, what year was it?
Oh, what year was that Camaro? Brand new 2012 is what he said.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. He tried to impress me with it when we first You did too. Don't lie.
It obviously didn't work since you married him.
I mean,
but
it
worked.
was not about the car.
Sure.
I mean, he tried to have the whole, the guy does impress the woman with the car thing. But I've never been a person about cars, and
No, you totally proved that.
After you throw up in the Camaro, I mean, that trust me, there's
yeah.
no.
He was totally dedicated before that, so I mean, it just escalated from there, and we had that whole, how people just go nuts when they turn 21. He had to put up with me doing something similar my 21st birthday because my best friend was like, here's a bottle of, what did Jackie give me?
So.
Yeah, he held my hair while I puked in the toilet.
I've been dying to ask this question for a little bit, but we've kind of gone off here. So I'm going to ask you, Madeline. It's nothing embarrassing. I'm actually just genuinely curious. What you said you came from a purely Christian area, so I'm curious. What is it, like a small town or a really, really big city?
Well, I live in Oklahoma City now, so it's a decent size. That's where I went to college too. Was little area outside of Oklahoma City. I will not say the college name. We'll talk about that after. We're not.
No, that's
live.
No. I have I'm just saying it in more. I'm just saying it like this because see, I lived in a town called Snowflake, Arizona. So I got to watch I got everything. I got the dry, no alcohol up there. God, we need to drink somewhere, right? I could actually see. I got that, and I also I've seen the repression of. I've had to be this for so long. Fuck it. I'm just going to just go nuts. And I have a hunch that was you. You're like, you know what? I'm not this point, right?
Yeah. I waited till college at least. I mean,
I don't really just the truth of the matter is this is just how I see it. Honestly, you've lived with certain expectations for a very long time, and you need to figure out what works for you. And that's nothing wrong with that, right? At all, right? And you need to if we're gonna go really biblical for just a second, new wine can't exist in an old skin. So that means you gotta kind of find out who you are, and you can't just live by everybody's expectations all the time. So, and usually what happens, I find in communities like yours is when you. Usually, I find it happens in communities like yours is when you guys decide to say buck expectations. There's no middle ground. You really buck expectations.
Wait, Josh.
Yeah.
Wait. So he's gone. Now you could tell us all the shit.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
He's coming
hurry
back.
up.
Oh.
Damn it.
He took the wine though, but I guess 3 glasses is enough. So.
Oh.
Anyway,
I'll break up the tension here.
I'll ruined
break it up.
Ooh, okay. I like that beer
Okay,
can.
so we're
cool.
to our 4th beer here, and this is actually from Mr. JD Estrada's recommendation. It's from Stone Brewery. It's called Buena Vesa, and it is a salt and lime lager. And so I have a feeling this is going to be quite sour and interesting. But
yeah, probably.
Let's cheers.
It has a pretty can. I mean,
yeah, it's a very beautiful artwork for anybody who couldn't see that. It's one of those interesting ideas.
And Joshua still hasn't had any alcohol.
Actually, it's very, very sweet.
No,
it's a very sweet beer. So.
Son of a bitch.
That's why he's asking his intense questions.
Well, I just didn't have, in all fairness to me, I literally just moved out here. I don't really get booze till next month. I've only been out here a month, so yeah.
Wait, what does that mean?
I moved. I literally traveled about 2,000 kilometers, 3,000 kilometers from where I was. So
First of all, I'm in America, so that's
I
have no idea how far that is. And then 2,
so let's just say 1,500.
How does that affect purchasing alcohol?
What?
Well, you're like, I moved 2,000 or 3,000 kilometers, and as you know, that means we can't buy alcohol.
We can buy alcohol when I have money to buy alcohol. I have other things I need to get.
Oh, you don't have any money. I get
paid. I get paid for this gig in about 10 days.
Okay.
Then I get alcohol.
That is important.
Josh had to order his underwear for quite a while.
Yeah, I did.
Oh man.
What?
So
what did you
Ontario,
just say, Joe?
Ontario, I was in Ontario when the restrictions were stupid. I could literally go to a local store and I couldn't buy underwear that was on the shelf for about 6 months.
Holy
I don't
snikes,
understand this
Batman.
conversation. What? There are underwear restrictions in Canada?
There was in Ontario for about 6 months during
All
COVID.
because of the pandemic?
Why?
Yeah.
Dang.
There was like a shortage of men's underwear?
No.
No?
This was like
They were just mad at men? What
they
happened?
were mad at all of us. No underwear for anybody. It was so bad. This is how bad it was.
Canada.
So
It's like,
Crazy
it's
sons
like
of bitches.
yeah, but no. No, this is how, like this is a legit true story. Like in Windsor.
that's a nice
in
callback,
Windsor-
Anita. I applaud you. That's a nice
in-
callback
in-
from a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So in Windsor, a family, like a mom and dad, like they had to get their kids something. They literally had to cross the border to go get. I'm not. They border guards let them through because of you can't even get underwear, right? And
Oh, no clothing. Okay, that makes
Wow.
more. I was feeling like this was a targeted underwear thing.
no,
Quite
it was
bizarre.
bad. It was so
Okay.
bad. Like
Only by
this-
me.
like,
I'm the only one who targeted the underwear. So
yeah, because I joked about it. Right? Well, Ontario was fucked. So it was, but it was so bad. Like again, they crossed the border. They were allowed to cross the border. When they came back, they were fined for it. Like,
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah,
That is
no,
ridiculous.
it was like it was because, and honestly, this is one of those situations. I don't blame the family. You need what you need. Needs are needs, right?
Yeah.
And it was what it was, and it was dumb. It was literally dumb. They eased the restriction when the summer rolled around. I'm not in Ontario right now. I'm kind of going to wait and see what I think is going to happen there in the wintertime. I imagine there'll be something else equally stupid somewhere up there. That's right. Towels and underwear. And moist towelettes, Rebecca. Moist towelettes.
I preferred towels when I was younger. I didn't say that didn't change.
But the
I
whole
just
moist
silenced the entire
makes it
panel.
so much better. Like,
It's fantastic. Fantastic.
oh my gosh.
All right. Well, I think we've hit a lull there, people. So
Well, how do you top moist towelettes? I mean, we just hit there. That's. I mean, how do you top that? Like, how do you go? Where do you go from here?
I think with alcohol is how you top it. I mean,
what I really love.
Rebecca's comment.
What I really love is she's gone. I love this. Madeline's just gone. It's hilarious.
I mean, like, ooh, maybe it's my generation kind of thing, but the word moist does not go over well.
So it's one of my favorite comics is Transmetropolitan. Right? It is a dirty, filthy book. Even the machines are on drugs. It's fucked. It is one of the most fucked things you'll ever read. And totally. Madeline can. I know Maddie's in there. I know it totally is. That all said. So there's a scene in one of the trades where it talks about monstering in journalism form about giving a shit. And it goes on this diatribe. So finally when it's over, he asks the waiter for 100 moist towelettes. I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask any questions about that. It was just one of those little filthy little jokes inside the book. Transmet is brilliant, but it's filthy as fuck. It's filthy as fuck, and it's like, oh man, So I just was thinking about that when we were talking about towels, and then it's like, no, we have to include moist towelettes. We have to. Where
how do I even say it's always time to go indie now after that? I mean, it's
I would say it really dirty.
Oh my gosh.
Always
to go indie now with 100.
Make sure you have the look and everything. Like,
yeah. All right, let's.
And then you should put some lipstick on, like really bad, while you stare into the camera.
Some bad Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I'm
movie
ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille, right now.
All right, so let's go around and have everybody tell everybody where they can find you, because our crowd has stayed pretty much the entire time. So kudos to
Thank
all
you,
the people in
guys.
chat. Thank you
Yes.
so much for hanging out. We really appreciate it. So Josh, tell everybody where they can check you out at, especially
So I
your new
got-
stuff.
Okay, so I'm doing this right now because I'm a total trained professional in shit. I promise.
You seem like it.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't tell anybody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to Twitch and put my book order in there. So you guys want to borrow my latest book? It's called Alice One, and it's literally available there. If you want to go order it, it is the most bizarre game of croquet you will ever see. It involves the underworld and Alice in Wonderland and Jason and the Argonauts. So it's a nice little mashup of that. My podcast, Just Joshing, the audio is available pretty much anywhere you can find audio podcasts. It's everywhere: Google, Spotify, Amazon. My webpage is, I'm going to put that out there too. If you want to actually read stuff I write, you can find me on my webpage here. And if you want to support my Twitch channel, which is what I would really love you guys to do, I do live shows usually at least 4 times a week.
Wow.
And I draw, I do other random stuff. I've had people on there. So that all that stuff is where you can find me. Come watch me. You can see me talk. Topics have ranged anywhere from PTSD to glitter and everything in between. I'm sure the next time Joe and I are on the show together, I'm probably the talent thing's going to come up again. I'm almost certain of it. And beyond all that, Joe, thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for
Wait,
being here,
before
Josh. But just to let you
wait.
know, you posted all those links in Twitch. Nobody here is in Twitch, and they're all on YouTube, so they didn't see those. But that's okay because I got you covered. I'll put the links up after the show for
Okay.
everybody here. So I have
Wait.
everybody's. So.
Before you move on from Josh, what the fuck is that green shit behind you?
That's a green screen. So when I do my show, right?
Okay.
So when I do my other show, what I do is I actually
Underwear stretched out.
That's right, totally. But legit, we do features on our show, and so we're using backgrounds and stuff like that. Very quietly, ladies and gentlemen. I also, if you need, and I'm going to mention this right now, if you have you need a book trailer, you need a Kickstarter. If you're looking for a very short video to be made, I can do that. I have a big mouth. I have a good voice. I can talk. I can be a professional sometimes. Don't tell anybody, especially Joe. But if you guys are looking for voice work or video work, yes, no longer moist towel. That's totally true. Right. And
Oh man, she's the best. How come the show isn't just her? That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah,
I've asked her before.
She's better. She's better like this. I'm almost certain. But yeah, I'm looking for, again, I'm always open for voice work, sponsorship for the show. The show is doing quite well actually right now. So I mean, you'll definitely have an audience that will look at your stuff. Give me a shout. I definitely am always opening for more work and more ears. So whether it's video, audio, or like even writing, give me a shout.
And I also want to mention for Josh, I will do this for Josh, that he is also part of the Speculative Fiction Academy, which sponsors a couple of our shows, and he has done an incredible. I've actually watched a few of the episodes, or a few of the classes, I guess you should say. But plus, I've seen him do it countless times. I've seen him do it when words collide and everything. But he does a podcasting 101 for anybody who wants to learn how to do podcasting better.
Nice.
I think it's an incredible class that everybody should take if you're going to be in podcasting. And it is a master class, and Josh does it very well. So I guess I lied about the last time I would toot Josh's horn.
Well, that's right. You're a fucking liar now.
I am a
Damn it.
fucking liar. I am a bold-faced liar. Mr. Lindegaard, you're a fucking liar.
Fucking liar. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, no problem, Josh. All right, Ron, you want to tell everybody where they can check you out at, and the proper title of the book that I've just downloaded?
Well, sure. That book is You're as Stupid as You Are Fat, How to Talk to Women. A completely serious guide of how to improve your communication with women. But and then the best place to find me is at the website I listed here, Cathaldi.com. It may be a crappy website, but it's got all the information you need for signing up for my various newsletters or finding me on the social media that you kids love. So, but all I really care about is Rebecca Jonesy friending me on the Facebook, because I'm so old. That's what I use. So,
And she will, and you've earned a stalker. But I'm gonna just tell you,
I want to.
you've never asked to be on the show, Rebecca. If you had asked, of course I would have you on the show. So, but I don't care about that. Fuck it. I'm not monetized. I don't give a fuck about that. So anyway, and if they throw me off, oh well, that'll be the greatest last show I've ever had in the history of.
Yeah, it would be a bang, Joe. Like, yeah,
That's true.
I mean, if they're not going to throw me off for people getting naked and sucking, as sucking plastic nipples on beer bottles, I'll never get thrown off. So I'm okay.
The way you paused was
Yeah.
very dramatic.
Yes, it was. I was like, wait a second.
People in for sucking.
Joe,
I'm
Joe
channeling
is
my inner. I'm channeling my inner
was good.
Denzel there.
Well,
That was
I
great.
figure you're inner erotica writer. You got it in you,
Yes.
Joe. You've got it in you.
Yes. It's
Great
there.
dramatic
It's
pause.
there.
I don't know if I could. I again, my problem isn't coming up with ideas and things. My problem is writing 60,000 words around it. That's my problem.
So-
I don't.
Joe, I'm gonna say something here before Madeline goes off and promotes her stuff because it's awesome. I just wanted to say this like this.
Yeah.
Because you know what, there is a model right now with publishing where you can do a short novella and do quite well
Yeah,
with
I
it.
don't want to do the
Yeah.
Bella shit though. I don't
Well,
want to
they're
do
it might
selling,
be your
like,
thing,
awesome.
man. You should try. Like, don't knock it till you try it. You might be
That's
pleasantly
true.
surprised.
That's very true. But
You could even
Yeah.
do that Kindle Bella stuff, like the cereal stuff. Like, I
yeah,
mean,
that's what we're talking about. Yeah, that's
Well, actually, Joe, not even serial. Just do novellas. If you tell a full story, it doesn't matter how big it is today. Dude, I did a 32-page epic poem about Alice in Wonderland. Right? Who cares how big it is? Just go tell your story, man. Tell it.
all right.
Well, don't
You know
don't
what?
make
I
Joe
may
feel
take
bad.
you all up on that, and you might all regret that I did. But oh my god, Rebecca,
Don't make them like they used to, huh, Rebecca?
All right, man, and I can tell you all, having met Rebecca in person now, she's amazing. She's just absolutely the best. All right, Madeline. Sorry, Madeline. I didn't mean to trample on your opportunity. So tell everybody about
you're
it.
good. You're good. Okay, guys. So you can find me on my website here. I've gotten better at pointing to it now. Oh my
You
gosh.
did. That's great.
Yes. So all my links to my Facebook,
Especially
everything
after
are
three
there.
bottles of three drinks of
I
wine.
I know, right? Yeah. But I also, like, if you want to friend request me on Facebook, it's under Maddie DeGraff instead. But yeah, I've got a new book dropping in January. If you guys want to check it out, it is a dark fantasy romance, and it's smutty for all those that like to read the smutty stuff. Joe has a
Nice.
copy. I don't think he's got started on it yet, but it's 99 cents right now if you want to buy it. But yeah, you guys hit me up, follow me, and like my stuff.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get you on the genres dark fantasy episode too, because I think I read the first chapter. I read the first 5 pages. Nice, very nice. I'm really excited about it. Novella's 20. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I come from, and Josh will understand this. I think a little bit. Maybe even Ron will understand this a little bit. I mean, yes, I'm claiming that you're both old. But I come from this.
Josh is as old as me. He looks like a fucking baby.
Josh is he might not be old, but he's
you,
he's
Maddie.
But I've come from the mentality that's not writing for me. It's weird writing something like that, and I get it. It's different, and you just got to do it. And when you do it, it changes everything. But it's just kind of I mean, does it make sense to everybody? I mean, maybe
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll help. All right.
Is Rebecca gonna beat you, Joe? Is Rebecca gonna beat you now off the air?
Yeah, I'm getting Cal prodded to death, so it's all right.
Okay, no, But Joe, it's a different age, right?
Yeah.
There's no rules anymore about how to publish. You can
No.
do it however. Look, I'm telling you straight up, like the Alice story that you got,
Yeah.
I'm kickstarting that motherfucker next spring. I'm doing it, right? Because the way I look at it is, see, I this is just my perspective because I'm just this kind of whore. Is
Well, because you're smarter than everybody else, and you were way ahead of the game before anybody else.
Yeah, exactly. No, and so here's the thing, right? I don't care about awards or recognition from the more traditional venues. You know what I care about?
I don't either. I don't even. That's not what I'm talking.
Joe. Let me finish. Then you can get me.
Yeah.
I care about telling my story and reaching the audiences I want to reach, and I'm not afraid to look bad doing it. I'm just going to do me. And I'm going to let what happens. At this point in the ball game, I'm just going to refer to my drawing. I was afraid I'd suck. You know what I did? I showed everything out in the open because honestly, it's the best way to get better.
Yeah.
Do it. Just write your stories. Your stories are good. You're a creative guy. You're a smart guy. Look at what you broadcast. You built a fucking broadcasting empire, dude. You have. So I mean, I know you can write a novella or a novel, however long it is. It will be good because it's from you. You'll kick ass. Honest.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. And novellas are this I did not know. This is cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Victorian and Victorian era. But
That's true. The first horror novel, I actually looked it up and ordered the book, and it's a novella. So
yeah, well, just to put it in perspective.
Well, I mean, I was introduced to Story by Edgar Allan Poe. So
yeah,
there you go. But
wow, you really are old. And I just want to say, as much as Josh is cute, just because you wrote something, Joe, doesn't mean it's going to be awesome. I mean, no matter how much you love a writer,
Thank you for
no matter how much you love a writer, some of their stuff is shit. Like Stephen King, amazing. Just a tremendous talent. Some of his stuff is shit, and I mean that just happens. You can't just assume just because you do it, it'll be awesome. I mean,
but
there may be good odds, but
always improve. Like you can only go up from where you start.
Oh, you're so positive, Maddie.
That's me. That's my personality.
Yeah,
I'm a motivator.
I think at a certain point, like when you're 90, it's wrong. It's just garbage from then on.
It could be.
You have like Kurt Vonnegut. I loved Kurt Vonnegut, and then at a certain point, you were like, "Wow, that stuff is just shit."
Yes, that is correct.
He's too fucking old.
Yes,
Stop.
that is
He's
correct.
done. He's dried up, and you could do that with almost every.
Becca, so she doesn't beat you. I got it. Don't want to see you fall down the stairs. Think, Becca, just no visible scars. Okay. But anyways,
Rebecca knows how to carry bodies. Let me tell you. So
So no, but Joe, honestly, it's about showing up and doing it. That honestly, after everybody I've interviewed, really what it comes down to is show up, do it, do the best you can, and do everything you know how to do. If you do that, it'll be more good than bad.
It might still be shit. Just saying. Just to be the other end of the spectrum. I mean, I assume, it'll be great because you're Joe. But anyway.
Thanks, Ron. That was the nicest thing you've ever said to me, Ron, and I'm going to take it and hold it forever.
Right here.
But
right here.
Anyway, speaking of taking it and holding it forever, you're at Going Now. Congratulations, you found us. If you've never been here before, I really appreciate as my lights flicker in the background weirdly. But that being said, welcome to our channel. Welcome to everything we do. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for doing that. And if you wouldn't mind smashing that like button, subscribing, commenting, doing all those wonderful things that you all do to help us get more seen by more people, we really appreciate all of that because that really is helpful and it means a lot to us. And I really appreciate that. And with that being said, cheers to everybody here tonight. I just think this was an excellent show, a great group, and I look forward to December because most of this group is coming back in December, so I really appreciate that. And they're all welcome to come back in December if they want to. I don't care. It would be an awesome show. And with that being said, it's always time to go in now. Thank you very much. The bar is now closed.
Peace out, guys.
deal, you guys.
Oh my gosh.
Maddie?
Come on. End.
Did you finish the entire bottle?
I did not. There's at
Oh,
least
you
like 2 or 3 glasses left.
Oh, wow. What a puss. I drank a whole bottle.
It's kidnapped. It got kidnapped. My husband took it away from me.
Oh, my God. You should totally kick
We're
his
still
butt.
alive.
I drank the whole bottle. Just saying. Macho.
I'm trying to end it, but it's not working. All right. I'll be right back.
Oh, my.
Well, so I guess I
That
guess
was so
it's-
aggressive.
Yeah,
What do we
and
do?
now that we're at the end, I'll go grab some booze now.
Guys,
How
we're
can you
still
be on a
alive.
show called Joe's Bar and not have at least one drink? I'm a little disappointed.
Honestly, because I drank all the booze a couple days ago. That's why.
A couple of days ago, that's all worked its way out of your system.
I know.
I haven't
but
drank
I
in a
can
long
make
time. I drank a
ass
whole
out
bottle of
myself
wine.
live, sober, and I'm good with it. And I can even act drunk. You're like my best friend. You get me. You're like my
Thanks,
best
man.
friend.
Thank you. See, that would have been nice.
Yeah,
if
there
it
you
was,
go.
if it was
I
real.
love you, man.
Y'all, where did Joe go?
Just,
Like,
he's still trying to figure out how to end the show. We're still